So the purpose here is to talk about this platform and see if this is something that'll work for us. And I know that Phil can process these videos after recording, and indeed in this video we are recording now, and we're going to experiment with it afterwards and see what it would look like if we do distribute via Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube after the fact. Now, as far as streaming, I don't have much to add with that. I don't have a whole lot of experience. Phil, you had some things to talk about regarding specific streaming on live platforms?
Well, yeah. Well, as far as doing it live, the platform I'm on, I can have 151 people total on. You know, we could get the GoToWebinar. At one point, I had 1,200 people working for me in sales and in a mortgage company that I had, and I was doing GoToWebinar meetings with those, and I had no problems with 1,200 people. What you do, of course, in those, you silence, which we would do anyway. We would silence everyone that's not talking at the time, so we have no background noise and things like that. Right now, we can hear some scraping, for instance, and we would have no background noise. But that's, of course, a lot more expensive. You know, it's about $400 or $500 a month versus, you know, the GoToMeeting Pro that I have is only $348 a year. I just pay for the yearly. But I can also, though, take anything we do, and I can then create iPod or got a mental block here. Podcast. I wanted to say iPod. I could do podcasts, and I can also do YouTube videos. So if we had something, for instance, like if we were doing a forum right now, let's say we had 8 guys on, 8 guys and gals, you know, whatever, we could do a video of that, and we could then put that on as a webinar process on YouTube and show it as a live function, even though it was already pre-recorded. YouTube allows me to do that, so we could do some things like that, and we can do the podcasts from whatever we do. So I can do a podcast from this today, and I'm going to just do that. I'm going to do a video and a podcast just to let you see what it looks like and how it works, how it sounds, that sort of thing. But I think that we can also, another thing we could do is at any time I could show the screen where I could pop up let me just show the screen here. Let me go back here. Can you all see where it says opportunity abounds? This coronavirus can be a downturn. And then what we could do is I could say, okay, you know, we could start out with a quote, let's say, but we could then go on where we could say something like, and the next speaker is going to be Phil Reed, and Phil said, you know, I believe we're going to come out of this better and stronger than before, more focused and efficient. So we can do all sorts of things that would make it more interesting for people. And so that, you know, if we were doing a video, it would come across very well because it would keep motion, it would keep things going, it would keep it animated. And if we were doing the same thing for a podcast, it would still sound super high quality because we would be quoting Phil, we would introduce him, Phil would say, hi, this is Phil Reed, and he would make his comments. And then so as we go around table, we would have a little bit of a script that we would work off of so that when I'm finished talking, Howie could talk, and he would know he's going to talk, so we could actually do it that way. So you'd be responding, and we would have a little bit of a script, so it just makes it more professional. But it would do well then for both the podcast as well as the videos on YouTube. And I've had a lot of success with putting up videos that it looked like it was live, but it was actually a video that went up for a particular time and release that made it look like it was a live video, but it can be very, very effective that way.
Okay. Yeah, so Phil, the format that we were looking to do here was have everyone introduce themselves, and one of us three, Howie, myself, or Matthew, would facilitate the conversation, but we'd have introductors with 5 people, and they would give a brief background of who they are, what they do, their experience, and then we would break into questions and have facilitated questions, and Matthew would bounce through those questions and have a quality conversation. Now, one thing that I discussed with these guys ahead of time, and I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, is that we can start this meeting with 151 members and have every member except for the 8 or so on the call that are active muted ahead of time. Is that correct?
Your last question, to have it what now?
To have everyone muted except for the ones that
Oh,
are
yes,
talking.
yes. I can mute and unmute anyone I want to at any time. So the key would be you guys call in the beginning, so we have everyone that we're going to have in this group that I would want to unmute at the top of my list. But then as people come in, yeah, I can have them all muted. So I would start out with everyone being muted, and it would say the webinar starting in such and such a time, and I might even have a timer that counts down. And then we would start with maybe me introducing the thing or whatever, and then saying, okay, now what I'm going to do is turn this over to Phil Reed or to Howie or to Matthew, however you would want to do it, and then you guys could take over, and I would mute and unmute accordingly. So we would have none of the background noise that we have even right now with just the four of us, because it's inevitable. You're going to have a certain amount of background noise. Now, of course, our forum people, the people going to be on the forum, we would want to have them in as quiet a room and things as we possibly could, and make sure that anyone else that's on the forum itself is not doing anything that would make any noise and things. Because everyone, if we're doing a forum, we're all looking, we can see it, and it makes it, look good if everyone's looking attentive and like they're really involved with what's being said.
Howie, can you offer your thoughts on everything now that you've looked at this platform and have played with it a little bit? What do you think about all this?
So far, this looks like to be the best platform. I have a Grammy-nominated musician friend that lives in Austin. He has thousands and thousands of followers on social media. He's been on the past 2 Tuesdays doing an acoustic set from his house in Austin.
Is that Ed, by the way?
No, it's not Ed. It's a guy named Miles Zuniga from a band called Fastball.
Oh,
they
cool.
had videos on MTV and that kind of stuff. And with all the followers and all the people he has, he's been getting between 150 and 200 viewers watching live, and he's only doing it on Facebook Live. So what that tells me is the percentage of people that actually tune in is a very small percentage of people we market to. With that said, I have about 8,500 personal contacts. So if I send out an email blast and the two Phils send out their email blast and Matt has a ton of business people, we might get to that 150 pretty quick.
I agree. And the thing is, what we want to do is say we're limited to only 150 people. And we would actually, if we had 9 people on our forum, that takes 9 away, so we have 151 actually that we can have in. So we could say we're limited to 140 people, however we want to do it. But I agree, Howie. I think we get there very quick.
And then, Phil G., I have a Google sheet of some notes that we started doing, calling this, Pandemic Business Impact Roundtable. And I can share this with you so you could look at the notes we have so far. If you give me your email
That would be
address.
wonderful.
What's your email address?
It's Phil at PPG, Paul George, and the number 7.com.
Okay. PHIL at ppg7.com.
Right. Either that or Phil at voglobal.com, the business Phil and I own together.
Okay. Okay. And are either of these emails based on Gmail? Like they're
No.
Okay. So you're going to get
they're actually they're actually on my servers. I own 13 different servers, and they're on my servers. So
VO, and the second email was VO or VEO Global?
VEOglobal.com. So Phil, PHIL at VEOglobal.com.
Victor Edward Oscar, so VEO, yeah.
I'm going to send it to both just to see which one works. Google likes Gmail emails, but it's going to send you a link that's going to maybe require you to do something if you need to edit it. But if not, at the very least, you'll be able to look at it for now.
Okay. Well, I just went to my emails. It hasn't come in yet, but it will probably in a few minutes. So I don't normally have any problem with getting my emails So I don't expect to have a problem. You know, I get it from
Okay.
Gmail all the time.
Right. It's going to ask you, though, in order to edit, Google may ask you to jump through a couple of
Okay.
their groups.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I have a Google account as well. So, and I have, you're using Google Doc then?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I've got a Google Docs account, so it's not a problem.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So it's sent. And in those notes, we talked about having maybe 5 participants.
Okay.
And the outline is as such. Let me see what I have here. Okay, so 5 or 6 presenters, and then each one would take 3 to 4 minutes to give a little background on themselves and how this pandemic has affected their business or their client's business. And then after that, we can go into Matthew moderating. So it might help to get a little background for Phil about Matthew, because he does a lot of business networking and speaker series and is used to moderating and interviewing business people.
Excellent.
So Matthew, you want to talk a little bit about some of the things you've done?
Yeah, so pretty much my day-to-day for the last, I'd say, probably 3 or 4 years has all been around events, like both jobs that I've had and projects that I've worked on. So once everybody went virtual, I was definitely one of the first to be excited to help people think about doing online workshops, online events, you name it. One specific way Howie and I have worked together is through this event that I used to do called Startup Grind, where we basically interviewed a successful entrepreneur here in San Antonio once a month. We would host it at Launch San Antonio downtown. I, since November, have started working for Geekdom, which is a co-working space focused on entrepreneurs and tech companies downtown. That's where most of our events used to take place. But yeah, I tend to naturally be pulled in a lot of opportunities to moderate various discussions. I was telling both Philip and Howie a little bit that I've done ones where 2 minutes before the talk, I've had to come up with questions. I've done other ones where I've had tons of opportunities to prep for. Most recently, we had a group of basically entrepreneurship resource centers from all over the country travel to San Antonio, and I led one on diversity and inclusion initiatives here in San Antonio. So I would say with the more like specific granular topics, those are the ones where I tend to need a little more prep time. But I think with these first couple ones that we're doing, with all the people that we're pulling into, I don't think I will be doing a lot of talking. I think there's plenty of the speakers that will take up majority of that time. So when it comes to those things, I'm very flexible with how I need to moderate conversations, and of course want to be respectful that we don't waste too much time going down too many rabbit holes. But sometimes when you let people talk too long, they say things they're not supposed to in a good way. So I'm always looking for those things.
You allow them to put their foot in their mouth, right, Matthew?
Yeah, and we've had some, I think Startup Grind of all things was the one that helped me do that, because basically it's an hour conversation of their life story of entrepreneurs. So I have some prep questions, but they talk about what they want to talk about, and we've had some tech CEOs that they were talking about when they were acquired or selling. They didn't see their family for 2 weeks, and they got very specific on what those days would look like. And I'm like, personally, I probably, that's the purpose of the
Right.
really be vulnerable and talk about our experiences. So, I definitely think this is a great time to have, maybe not those conversations, but conversations where people really open up and share how we're all getting through this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew. And one of the things that we talked about on the call this morning with Matthew and Phil was that we should have a local feel to this, meaning small business owners, our experience in dealing with catastrophic events, and also sharing some stories about what our clients have told us their pain points have been, and learning or teaching the viewers through a more of a Gestalt method, which is talking about our own experiences versus being preachy for an hour and giving people advice, especially giving people advice on businesses that we don't know much about because we don't know who is watching or listening in on our round table.
Yeah, I think that's excellent, Howie. I like that idea, definitely.
Okay, so the suggested presenters are Phil G., Howie Nestel, Barry Moorhead, and then our other Phil Reed, if you're going to be in on it. And then we talked about maybe a business coach. And we know between the three of us, we know 3 business coaches, and one of them has been around for quite a long time, a couple of decades, and has worked with hundreds of clients, and he's working with clients now to get them through this. So he would have probably a very interesting perspective. That's a guy named Kirby Caden Solutions. And I put their websites on our Google Drive. We can also think about somebody like Drew Glick, who owns Max and Louie's New York Diner, who went from about 80 employees down to about 15, and his revenue is down about 85% because he can only do takeout and curbside.
That's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah. I'm also going to be inviting my friend Skylar Ireland. You probably don't know this company, but Surefire Event Staffing is a local event staffing company here. And he's really good friends with Spice of Life. I'm sure you know Spice of Life.
Yes.
So I'm gonna try to get a referral from Skylar. You probably have a closer referral than I do, to be honest with you, with Spice of Life. But I'm aiming towards both of those guys.
Okay, so we have a lot of
yeah. Go on. Sorry.
Oh yeah. So we're putting all these people down as options, and then I guess our core group here, we could decide who would be a nice mix for this first one, and we're thinking about keeping it to an hour total.
Yeah, that sounds great. This is exciting. And I think this will be received very well. And I think once people, if we put out, for instance, podcasts, and we put out videos so that we can reach other people, watch this at your leisure type thing, I think we'll have more and more people joining originally. Now, do we want to open this up to any questions? Because, on the GoToMeeting, there's a chat. So someone could say, I have a question, and I would be able to identify who that person is, and then we could actually turn the mic on, or is that too dangerous? What do you think, Matthew? I know that you've done a lot of this.
Yeah, I would say we could either do it through this chat, or we could use like another service. Anytime I do in-person events, we use this thing called Slido. Only reason why it may be worthwhile to keep it separate is in case the chat box gets filled pretty fast. There's some tools that are built for taking questions. So it'd be really organized, really nice for me. But what I would say is at least for 35 to 40 minutes of it, let's keep it focused on questions and chatting with the moderators. Just because if you open it up to Q&A too fast, it can get kind of pretty all over the place. But of course,
right.
I'll always be looking at questions. So if there's a question that, say Howie says something and someone wanted more information, I'll keep that question kind of to the side. So, I can interrupt or add a question that's related to how the flow of the conversation is going.
Right. And I agree with you, Howie. A red tie is the best, especially for the kids. So. The thing is, I like the idea of the Slido, and I like if you could be moderating on Slido at the same time. Now, how do you integrate Slido into the meeting, GoToMeeting, Matthew?
So I would just link to that website, and when you click on that website, we create like a room code for the event. So say it's SATX. I'm sure not a lot of people in San Antonio will be having active events, so we could do something simple. And then they just go in and fill in their questions, and then Anybody in the code can see all the questions. You can do it anonymous. You can put your name in there, anything you name it. And of course, if people don't want to use that, we can take it through the chat too. I'm just thinking in case this thing gets out of control, how we make it a little more organized.
I hope we have the problem that it gets out of control. And then we have so many people that we have to, we say, wait, this makes sense to upgrade to the GoToWebinar, and we'll get the one that's has, I think 1,000 is the first level, I believe. I don't remember. Maybe 500, but...
I have a feeling that between 5 presenters, we'll take up the full hour wall to wall. And if we each come up with 1 or 2 questions ahead of time, and Phil Reed already came up with a few that he put on our Google Doc, I think that might be enough. The reason why sometimes I like to stay away from participant questions is because inevitably somebody's going to ask something about their business. And they're going to say, hey, I have a taco stand on Southside Zamora. You know, I have 3 employees and the city won't let me open. You know, is there anybody I can call down at the city to get a permit? You know, and we're all going to be looking at each other like, wait a second.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. Right. Well, if the purpose is distribution, and Howie, if you think that most of the viewers will be after the fact of the recording, it may be just a moot point here, to be honest with you, for having more viewers than 151.
And with that concept there, Phil, we could actually have no viewers, which we would obviously want the viewers, but we could have no viewers, and we could end up distributing it and get a whole lot of views.
Oh, that's a great point. I didn't think about that option.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking with this. Yeah.
Well, I think you guys have come up with something. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Phil. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Let's discuss that concept briefly here. So if there are 151 people, just, best case scenario with that option, what would that look like on a recording? Would it have a bunch of names on the top of the recording? Would it crowd the actual recording if there are 151 people?
No. What you're seeing right now. Now let me just give you an example. You're only seeing the 4 of us with the black screen in the background. Now, are you seeing anything more right now? No, because I'm now actually looking at the chat, and I just clicked on that the Slido, that Matthew put up. But you don't see any of that. You're still seeing me leaning forward, talking into the screen, even though I can bring those other things up. So I can watch the chat, and I'm sure that Matthew, that Slido is the same way. You can watch the chat without people seeing it, or is it something that everyone sees?
Right. I think, are you able to take one of us off maybe though? Are we able to do things like that? Only make sure the 5 presenters' videos are showing up, or will everybody's?
Oh yeah, no. We can limit that, absolutely.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious what that would look like when we record and then distribute. If that would cause too much.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't show.
Okay.
It doesn't show. Now, and the funny thing is, you are able to see the chat coming up when it's going. But if you've minimized your GoToMeeting, and what we'd start the meeting and say, and that wouldn't be part of the recording, nor would that be part of the podcast, but we would say at the beginning of the meeting, we'd say on the top right-hand corner, there's 2 little arrows that point to each other. If you click on that, it'll remove this out of your way so you can see the full screen. We'll also tell people we are recording this. If you want to watch it in the future, we'll be posting this to everyone that was here or something like that.
God.
Are you folks seeing your own GoToMeeting control there?
Yes, I can mute my own mic, camera. I can become the presenter and start sharing my screen, and I can leave. And I see the recording button. And I was going to try to log in from my phone to see if I could log in as a participant. But
you can, and the thing is, if you log in with your phone, you need to mute either your computer or you need to mute the phone, or you get a feedback. It starts a ringing. But with the phone, you've got to download the app with the phone, where with the computer you can do it as a web connection and it just automatically connects. Or you can download the app with the computer as well. But with the phone, it requires the app to be able to run it.
But now, does everybody that participates or that views that we invite, the 140 people, would they get a different link so that they're automatically not? They don't look like
they get the same link and everything can be controlled here by my desktop. So I can come in on my desktop, and I'm going to pass Howie. I'm going to pass the screen control over to you right now as an example. Okay. I'm going to change you over to let you start sharing your screen. Let me see here. I'm going to change presenter to Howie. Now it's going to say, do you want to show your screen?
And I'll say share.
Share.
Okay. That button won't let me highlight.
Those are the kind of things we'll have to play with, because it should have allowed you to share your screen. So we'll have to experiment before we do anything like that. We'd never want to do that live, obviously, until we'd done it. Let me make sure that I did that. Although I know I did. Yeah, it says change presenter to Howie.
Okay. I can click on my screen share. It just won't let me share it. The only button. Oh, now.
Okay, no. What you need to share is what you need to click on is not the one on your control. There we go. No. You needed to click there. Now we are actually seeing your screen. So now if you said, okay, if you went now on your screen to just anything you want to show, open up whatever you want to open up. Maybe you have a file there. Like, yeah, there you go. There you go. So that allows you to show whatever you want. Now videos can be run, but you've got the delay. Just like we have, as we talk, you're not seeing it completely the way that you would know it if you were in the room with us. But it allows you to show your screen. Now then, at any time I want to, I can go back up and I can say, okay, I'm going to now change the presenter back to me or to Matthew. I'll pass it over to you, Matthew. Here it comes.
So y'all see my screen?
Yeah, just click show your screen. There's a thing that should have popped up and say you want to show your screen. Click yes.
And then you have to click on the screen inside the pop-up, Matthew.
Got it.
That's what I was doing wrong the first time.
Hey Phil, did we lose you on the camera?
I thought that was an improvement. He looks better with just the initial.
This is true. The black screen is. Yeah. Of course, I got to be careful.
I didn't have to look at that 64-ounce water bottle.
I got to be careful though. He is my business partner.
There you go.
He's my business partner and a dear friend.
There we go. Excellent.
Yeah, I had to take my dogs back inside. They were freaking out at my neighbor.
What is that?
Having problems, Matthew?
Yeah, I think it has something to do with my credentials, though, or like. Let's see. Yeah, it's not letting me do it. So
let me say this: we can work through this kind of thing. And there's not a problem, because I can and what we could do, I could always bring it back to me, and if I had to, I could, show what I needed to show so that you guys could, see whatever you need to see. You follow me?
Yes.
So when we're doing live, what we'll do is we'll just figure out what we need to do or what we might have problems with. But what we'll do, Matthew, though, we'll experiment with you. We'll experiment with Phil. Everyone, before we do the live, presentation, we'll get on together and go through it and make sure that everyone is cool on how everything works, and that if there's any hardware issues, maybe, you know, that's blocking your system from doing it, we'll have that fixed. Howie, anything else you think we should cover?
I think that's it. If you want to take a look at that Google Doc I shared, did it come in?
I'll do it.
Okay, and then share some thoughts with us. I gave you editing privileges, but you may have to go through a couple of the Google hoops to start editing, and feel free to put some stuff in there.
Here. Okay, let's see if I got that yet.
And then Phil Reed, you want to put together a little call for tomorrow for us to review the Google Doc, and then maybe start putting some dates to this?
I'm sorry, review the what?
The Phil G's going to review the Google Doc that we created on the roundtable finer points, and then maybe tomorrow we can have a call and put a date of when we'd like to do it, create an announcement, finalize the name for it and the date and the time, and the participants. We can invite them, and then I can have somebody from my crew design the little announcement, give it to all of us, and we send it out by email. I'm almost inclined to still do it live and let people participate and max out, and then still record it and put it up afterwards. But I would love to see a way where we could do that. Yeah, I would also love to see a way where we could go on Facebook Live at the same time we're doing this.
I'll look into that. I think we possibly could. I'll have to look into it. I will look into it, because I know, you know, I have that Facebook TV portal. Have you ever seen that?
I have not seen the Facebook TV portal.
It's amazing how it's a box that's about, I don't know, 12 inches by maybe 2.5 or 3 inches high, and it's about 4 inches deep. But it's got a camera, and what it allows you to do, you can sit in a room, and you can have 20 people there, and they can all talk at once. You can hear it just as if you're in the same room. My oldest daughter gave it to us for Christmas, so we can all get together. She lives up in Spring Branch, and so now with this COVID thing, you know, we're able to sit and talk. She actually sets it up with her sister-in-law in Dallas, and they play games on it, like, you know, that thing where they put the card on their head, things like that.
Right.
And so it's amazing. And what it does, it will actually follow you. So in other words, if I'm talking and I start to walk over somewhere, if I'm the one talking, it'll actually follow me on the screen. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
So they may have the capability of us combining this together, and we might decide that maybe what we should be doing is the Facebook, you know, method for presenting it. But I don't know how Facebook works as far as passing it over to different people and different presenters and things. So we can look into that, certainly. I'll look into that.
There's got to be a way to stream the data, right? So if we have data on our screens, there should be a way to share that data live. Maybe a slight lag, maybe a 5-second lag with Facebook. People could interact on Facebook, but it would be a 5-second delay. I don't know how that would work, but it sounds like it should be possible.
Well, that's something you and I can experiment with, Phil. We can just experiment with it. We don't have to tie everybody else up. Hey, Howie, do me a favor.
Yes.
My Gmail, because we may, because of the bandwidth we're using and everything, I don't know. I didn't get those emails yet, but my email for my Gmail is pp, just like Paul, and Gilliam, my last name, Gilliam, @gmail.com. Because I want to get that for sure from you, so I have that, and then I'll figure out if I'm not getting your emails to my main account, I'll figure out why.
Okay. Try that. I just sent it, and let me know if you received it.
Let me get over here to my Gmail. Okay, I got it.
Great.
I don't understand why I didn't get it on the other account, but I've got it. So you can communicate with me through either one of those accounts. But I'd rather use it on the PPG, but it's not a problem. The Gmail is just as good. Okay, very good.
Great, guys. Okay, so how about Phil Reed? You put us all together since you know everybody in this group in person for sometime tomorrow. We can schedule it now if you'd like, or we
Let me
can
look
reach
at my
out.
schedule here.
Yeah,
That's actually the smart way to do it. Let's just look and see what everybody has. I have
I'm
a
good.
meeting. I have a meeting from 1 to 2:30, and that's it for tomorrow. I've got a meeting tomorrow night at 7:30, but that's another one. But I got a meeting from 1 to 2:30. What does everyone else's schedule look like?
We're running our first workshop here to keep them online, so that'll probably be about 30 to 2. I'll be getting stuff set up for that.
What time do we want to do our meeting? Does anyone have any idea?
I'm good. I'm good pretty much any time. I have an 11 to 11:30 meeting. That's it. And then I have a 9 to 9:30. So
You want to do it? You want to do? How about 3 o'clock tomorrow?
3 o'clock is perfect.
Sounds good.
Is that good for everyone else?
Yes, that'll work. So Phil Reed, you want to do this the same way? We'll do a go-to meeting.
Yep.
We can use exactly the same. We can use exactly the same. Everything you have today will still work tomorrow.
Okay,
This
great.
is actually for our forum purposes. This is what I set it up for. This is for our forum purposes.
Great. Done.
Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else we want to say before I say adieu?
I think that's good. 3 o'clock tomorrow, we are on, and everybody review the Google Doc, make some edits, some notes, and we can go through it and finalize it. Pick a day.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Thank you, guys.
Phil,
Phil G, nice to meet you.
Can you possibly convert this to a JPEG or whatever you need to, so we can attempt to put it on YouTube and see what it looks like?
Oh no, I will. When I get through, once it has to process. Once it processes and it's up, I will edit it. I'll bring it in, and then I'll also create a podcast. So you guys, I'll send out the podcast to everyone, and I'll give you the link on YouTube to be able to see it.
Great.
Okay.
That's awesome. Okay.
Very good.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, have a
good
great
afternoon.
day. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye, Eric.